Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Keep that focus on that starlight. God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the Almighty. Raw splitting the sea into that clear sight. Go far into vision, lifting up that soul right. High low, high low, high low, high low. Elevate my love, generate my touch. Everything I see coming to me.
I can be honest with my people. And when I'm honest with my people best know how to serve me. It's no different than being spiritual and talking to God and your spirits in prayer. When I'm real with myself and real with the spirit best knows how to aid me. You understand? And so we have to think about these things.
So before we get into the juices of meeting our twin flames and all that good stuff, what is a twin flame to you?
It's your mirrored soul. It's your divine partner. It's literally you, just in another body. And when I say it's the balance of the masculine and the feminine, it can be two men together, it could be two women together. It's just who carries what more dominant energy. It's the combination or the representation of holy love. It's love with a purpose, because your twin flame is someone you are agreed to incarnate with in this dimension, to perform a particular task, to raise the vibrations of earth, to
generate my touch. Everything I see coming to me, I'm knowing. Fruits that I bear from the sowing. I just put in work to the morning, to the three bird that we heard. Stepping through the light, that's a rebirth. Giving thanks to life in the ether. I can never fall when I'm free word. Free bird, free word, free bird, free word, free bird. I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo, I'm Elo. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me. High low, high low, high low, high low. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Keep that focus on that starlight. God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the Almighty. Raw splitting the sea into that clear sight. Go far into vision, lifting up that soul right. High low, high low, high low, high low. Elevate my love, generate my touch. Everything.
Hey.
Hello.
Can you see me? Can you hear me? So I'm trying out a new platform
Okay.
to see how this compares to StreamYard. So it's a little bit different. So we shall see how it goes. And I also
Okay.
think comments actually could pop up on the screen. So as people come in, we'll be able to see. Yeah, as people come in, we'll be able to see. But how was your day today?
It was good. I can't complain. It was peaceful. It was restful. I have been a little bit under the weather, so forced recovery time is the theme of the day.
Oh my God, I totally understand. Um, Sunday, we had a prayers at the church, and I've been recovering energetically since then. My energy has not come back. It has not come back. It has not come back on the level that I would have liked. I was seeing if the live was coming up on Instagram. So, but yeah, I'm still getting myself back together. And then setting up, getting ready for the puja, I had to get the rest of the stuff that I needed to get. And so just kind of like in that little operations mode. But then it's like after you have so many phone calls, making phone calls, talking to people, it's like all that just drained the hell out of me. And I was like, okay, I need to rest. I need to rest.
Yes.
And so I've been napping and all of that. But anywho, today, beautiful people, come in, share the live, get in, get in. The views are coming up. I think it's a minor delay on the social media platforms. Oh, okay. So we can see comments will display. Okay, look at that. Okay, they do come up. So as people comment, we could see them. So that's cool.
Okay.
I do like that. And let me try a thing too. Let me see something. Okay. Okay. So that's cool. So the comments we can see when they come in. So our viewers are coming in. Good night, beautiful people. Comment, let me know that you are in the live. Say good night, say hello, view, share, comment. Good night, Queen. Good night, Mama Star.
Hi,
Get the people to
Monster.
come on in. And we're gonna rock and roll. So as promised, I had asked you guys to share with Rain and I um, topics, feedback on what you guys want us to talk about, things that you guys are interested in discussing, things that you guys want to know. And so, um, quite frankly, speaking, we didn't get a lot of responses. So what I did was created a list, discussed the list with Rain, and Rain was like, "We're gonna see." And so I posted the list on Facebook, and you guys were very responsive and interacting with that post, and giving feedback and letting us know what you want to know, what you are interested in knowing and wanting to discuss. And so I'm very grateful for that feedback. And so in lieu of that, I decided to take the initiative to start to build on that. And I actually did like a survey tracker and counter and start to count the responses. How many people responded to this number? How many people responded to that number? And did like a tally chart. And so, beautiful enough, the first topic that really got a lot of responses and people were interested in talking about was everyday magic and rituals. And so I felt that in this season, um, overall, this is something that we need to definitely get into. And even more so on a personal level, just today, in fact, I had a reading done with my godmother in Nigeria. Shout out to my Ia. She's the bomb. And she made very plain to me, through this reading, not she, but Ifa made very plain to me the importance of certain obligations that I have with the spirit and with myself that I needed to get back in shape with maintaining in order to see further progression and things moving in my life. And so we'll talk about that as time goes on. So I have this organized and I want to cover everyday magic and rituals, and I have some talk points that I want to cover and share with you guys. I want to hear Rain's feedback on why she feel that doing everyday magic and rituals are vital before we go into the different types of magic and rituals to get into in a more consistent basis.
Hi, good night, everybody. Good night, good night. Honestly, when this topic came about, like it caught me in such a peculiar time, like full transparency. I have not been practicing my everyday magic and rituals the way that I'm supposed to. And I've seen the manifestation of that. So when you ask me about the value of, creating or curating a everyday routine that you do, just like you get up, you make your bed, brush your teeth, take a shower, there has to be that same spiritual balance, because we always talk about so carnally, so spiritually. We need to create everyday rituals to maintain and grow our magic. And we don't even realize like how many things we do every day that by nature are just magical. Sometimes when you're walking down the street and you're just having a conversation with yourself and you speak it out loud and the
Mm-hmm.
wind takes it, that's magic right there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So when I thought about everyday magic, I just thought about being more mindful and doing things with now intention. Like, not to jump right in the topic, but like one of the simplest magic tricks you can do is speaking words of affirmation into whatever you're drinking,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
adding a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of cinnamon to your coffee to speed up your day, or adding a little bit of honey to your coffee to sweeten your day. And you speak with the intentions when you're pouring the honey. My day is going to be sweet as honey. Everything is going to go as easy as honey for me. Everything flows with sweetness within to my life. So, it's just when I thought about the topic, it brought me back to being more present and more intentional with how I practice my everyday existence, because my existence is magic.
I love that. I like that statement. My existence is magic. And that takes us right into the first thing I want to get into. Number one, as Rain said, know that you are your own magical force. You are your own point, as we call it, your point of energetic contact to distribute and project energy. And so know that simple, you are the magic, and you have to work that magic, starting with your thoughts, starting with your actions, starting with, you know, how we move within our home, within our sacred space, you know, the energy that we walk out of our house with. And so, going right into it, the daily workings. First bubble that I have here, because I made little bubbles, you guys. I ain't gonna lie, I did think bubbles. And so, first bubble, daily workings. I like where you started, Rain, when you spoke about um, adding the things into your food. Very simple. Everything that we consume has some form of energetic vibration to it. If you eat living foods, whole foods, these things bring life to you. They hold memory, they hold high spiritual properties and high vibrations. And certain elements, certain herbs that we intake, certain things that we can add to our food to enhance the vibration and frequency of the food does play a role, a major role in our personal energy, our personal vibration. If you eat processed foods, not living foods, foods that are dense, food that's not have life in it. Even some believe that consuming flesh, especially if you are in a point of spiritual awakening or seeking clarity or trying to gain an enlightenment, a lot of times consuming flesh. A lot of old practices believe that consuming flesh could cause heaviness or delays, or even eating foods that does not have life in it could also bring stagnation in one's life. So at the most basic level, incorporating living food, fruits, vegetables, raw foods, these things in your diet, in your lifestyle. Not saying you have to become a vegan, not saying you have to become a vegetarian, but at least incorporating balanced meals that bring life and bring substance to you, because it will play a role in your energy. When you have energy, when you're not feeling that fatigue, you have the motivation to accomplish things. When you have that energy in your body, you are operating with clarity. You have less brain fog. um Another thing that I believe in doing is daily prayer. A lot of us um sleep on the power of prayer, but that is magic, that is rituals. Prayer, communing with the universe, you know acknowledging your higher self, giving thanks and gratitude to your higher self, taking a moment to breathe and examine yourself, checking in with yourself before you engage with people, and then using that moment of prayer and meditation to project the energy, the thoughts that you want to manifest. If this is a certain amount of money you want to make for the day, if this is a task that you need to complete, if this is engaging in a situation at the workplace, or whatever it may be, projecting that energy and affirming that it's going to go a certain way and believing that it's going to go a certain way, and then placing yourself in the situation still with the mindset that it's going to have the outcome that you desire. A lot of times in manifestation, we work towards a work, or we work towards a project or a goal, and we struggle with obtaining that because we still are doing the work. We'll light the candle, we'll write the petition, we'll do the burn, the petition, we'll do all of these things, and then get into the interview, or get into the meeting, or get into the situation, and doubt or fear the successful outcome. And so, therefore, our manifestation is not so successful. You know, I also believe in, an addition to the daily prayer, especially for us that are um, Bible readers, or faith workers, or conjurers, or root workers, or hoodoo practitioners, or even Kabbalists, or Gnostic people that believe in Gnosticism. You can work your Psalms. There is power in daily Psalms. There's a Psalms for every day of the week, because every day of the week is governed by a particular energy, you know, and you could tap into enhancing and building your vibration for the day, understanding how your energy moves on a Mars day, on a Jupiter day, on a Saturn day, understanding how you can enhance your vibration through the power of sounds, or through the power of certain rituals. So for example, for me, um there's like, when I do prosperity work, a lot of times I like to do my prosperity work on a Thursday. That may be your money work, that may be removing blockages from your money, that may be expediting certain projects that you are trying to engage in or accomplish. I like to do that on Thursdays, Jupiter. And also, I was always taught growing up that Thursday is a good day for money. Thursday is a good day for money. I always heard that with my grandparents, Thursday is a good day for money. And so I always apply that. And so I will always do a simple yellow candle, dust that with some cinnamon, like Rain talked about, write out my petition, and I would use Psalms like the earth is the Lord, the fullness thereof, and those that dwell there are in, and other scriptures, Psalms 23, things of that nature, and focus that intent on prosperity, focusing that intent on drawing in, you know, that's very simple. Also cleansing, cleansing. A lot of us sleep on the power of spiritual baths, spiritual cleansing. And a cleansing does not always have to be something extreme, doesn't require extremities, but definitely something that can be done every day. From the simple bathing, covering oneself with Florida water after encountering, especially if you deal with people, for hairstylists, people that work with in customer service or work in the medical industry. You're encountering energy, different types of vibration all the time. And you may get a level of heaviness, or you may get, as we say, a little whiff of something, a little funk on you. Having that modality that will help you to cleanse that, remove that, Florida water, 4711, whether you make your own or it's store bought. But again, to remove that, you can also take spiritual baths. I used to take a spiritual bath actually every night. I don't do it anymore. I do other forms of cleansing. But back in the days when I was working in the shop, I took a spiritual bath every night. And I didn't sleep on that because I was encountering so much energy. And you don't have to make an extreme spiritual bath. Something with salt, sea salt, kosher salt, Himalayan salt, Epsom salt. You understand Florida water, fresh herbs, if you so choose to use fresh herbs, like basil, mint, sage. These things you can incorporate in your cleansing. Do you understand, Rain? Will there be anything you want to add to the daily workings, or even baths?
So for me, I just want to piggyback on what you said with the power of prayer, because I was having an internal conversation with myself today, and I said, in our faith, we always talk about Jesus, our shepherd, lover, friend. And I thought about the amount of time that I spend, with my friends, in conversation with my friends, talking to my friends about my day, so forth. And I'm saying, God, you're supposed to be my friend. So I want to have a conversation with you. And sometimes I think when we think of prayer, we think about the formality of prayer. So it tends to take us away. We're like, oh, I don't have time to pray. Mind you, we spend several hours scrolling on our phone, doing random stuff. And I'm saying, if this is my friend, why would I treat my friend this way? I should want to be in his company. I should want to, fill him in about the ins and out of my day. I should want to tell him not only my sorrows, but my joy, because that's
Mm-hmm.
what we do in
Mm-hmm.
friendship. So when I think about, sometimes we get so caught up in the busyness of the day, we give ourselves the illusion that we don't have time to create a daily routine. But if you simply say, I'm going to just allow myself 30 minutes to spend time with God, and it doesn't have to be praying. Sometimes for me, I just put on some hymns and I sing some hymns, because within the hymns, there is a conversation already happening through the lyrics of the hymn. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're a person that listens to gospel, you put on some, whatever you listen to,
Gospel, Orisha music, mantra music,
music,
whatever the music that
whatever it
feeds your
is,
spirit. Mm-hmm.
you connect with God that way. And we, most of the time, we have our earphones in our ears listening to something anyway. So that goes back to what I originally said, is just with my curating of my personal routine to build that spiritual connection, is to just always operate in the space of mindfulness. So, like
Yes.
when I'm doing something, even as I spoke about, for me, communication with the wind, because I know the birds are listening and they're carrying the messages. I know the wind that's listening. So when I'm having that walk to work, and I have a 15-minute walk from the train station to where I work, I just start talking. I'd be like, elements, listen, this is what's going
Yeah,
on.
man.
This is what I need to happen. And I need this to happen in X by Y by Z time. And I don't know how we're going to do it, but you're the element of the wind. So you are fast and you carry the message to the most high you know
I agree
I
with
try
you.
to tap into the things that I'm doing anyway, and just try to sprinkle some spirituality on top of it. I think a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times, we try to create this exorbitant routine and we're already overwhelmed by the ways of life. Like I was having the conversation, like we no longer live in times where we can truly connect with nature and
Yes.
truly be present in the moment, or truly even live in that communal essence, because
Yes.
we have most of our day is spent at work. Then when you come home, you have to spend it with your family. So that time that we used to have of rest, and within that rest time we could, curate more in-depth routines. Like I always say, oh, I want to get more into my kabbalistical knowledge, you know and I would be like, when am I going to carve out time to read this book? So what I started doing, I just listened to a video. I was going to listen to something anyway. So when we're creating a daily routine with connecting to spirituality, because when we talk about everyday magic, we're just talking about everyday spiritual practices, right?
Yes.
As you said,
Yes.
like saying your prayers, invoking your psalms, that's just all aspects of trying to further that connection with the divine. So when I think about what I need to do first with creating that everyday magic routine, is how do I want my relationship with the divine to look like? Because my magic could simply be like, hey, God, girl, let me tell you what's going on today. And within that simple conversation, God done did what he needed to do. He held his own. He refreshed my spirit. He cleansed me and made me whole. But I also do believe in like practical aspects. Like if you know Shanique, Shanique love a sage. I love all kind of sage, blue sage, white sage,
Oh yes.
all kinds of smoke blends. That is my thing. I believe in truly smoking out yourself because
Yeah,
there are
and
people
that's
that
it's funny you said that because actually smoke cleanse is one of the bubbles. Smoke cleansing, whether it's for your space or even for yourself. Smoking out yourself is a thing too. A lot of times people only think about using the sage or using the frankincense and myrrh to just smoke out their home or smoke out their
mm-mm.
space. You can smoke out your self too.
Listen,
Sit that under
I
the you in a chair.
walk walk over it, and
Hello.
put that little pot down. Especially us women who have portals between our legs, like walk over that fire. Let some of that
Mm-hmm.
go up in there. Especially if it's a natural sage bundle, it's safe. Just walk over it because we encounter so much energy throughout the day, and then this is a message for my women. We don't even understand, like, just sitting on a train and all the energies that sat there before you, and you have a portal in between your leg and your womb is open. That's why I said do them yoni steams.
Oh
That's
yes.
another practice of spirituality and connecting with that mother womb, you know so for my feminine people, steam your yoni. Get the different herbs. Some people already sell it prepackaged, or you could simply go look on a recipe yourself. I'm not a person to recommend anything for anybody because everybody's body is different. So there's many recipes that you can research and find,
Yes, to
and there's
cleanse
people who
yourself.
are trained in putting together the combinations. But my recommendation would definitely be like spend some time, and even when you're sipping your tea, sip it with intentionality. As this tea warms my body, so does my life feel warm. Life for me is cozy because, I don't want to add anything to my day. If you know me, I get overwhelmed by the slightest things. So, like, I'm not trying to add too much more. Just use what I'm going to do anyway and make it magical. Because, as I
Mm-hmm.
said, we are the magic, you know?
Yes, and I want to give some incense blends. So I hope you guys take notes of this. Some incense that I find to be very powerful, and effective. So if you are doing a smoke blend to cleanse, to dismiss, to remove, I always recommend sage. Now, and not just sage. I'm going to give you guys a list. Sage, I call that spiritual bleach. So even if you have
Hey,
yeah, it removes everything,
everything
and
good, bad, or
so
indifferent.
when we talk about removing everything and that spiritual bleach, know that you have to build back up the energy. You have to bring back the energy that you want in that space. If you had called down Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Oshun, and Ogun, and all the people,
You got to
you
bring it back.
understand? You have to invite the energy back into the space. So after you've done your sage smoke cleanse and you've purified with the spiritual Clorox, you have to go ahead and spray your nice smell goods, and you know what I mean, to bring back that energy to entertain the vibration that you had that you want to keep. Now, if you want to just say you have your vibration set, you have seals and certain energies that you've placed in your space, but you want to get rid of what needs to be get removed, I recommend Palo Santo. I recommend um I recommend Dragon's Blood. You understand? Also, frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense and myrrh is a puritan, and it purifies a space, but it also enhances spiritual energy as well, which is really nice. When you're doing deliverance work, you're going through some really heavy stuff. You understand, or you have a really strong presence in your house that you need to really get rid of, and sage just ain't going to do it. I recommend an incense by the name of benzoin. Benzoin. I will type that in the comments too. Benzoin, you can mix that with bay leaf and some chamomile and some pieces of some broken Apollo Santo. Oh, baby. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. The smell alone, will put you in a certain space, but the combination will do even greater. Now, when you're in a space and you want to enchant the space, and you want to enhance angelic or celestial energy, or you want to enchant a certain vibration in the space, I recommend Copal. Copal is not your um, dismissal incense. Copal is an enhancer, but it also summons angelic, celestial, pure energies. You can use that for like an invitation. Copal is really, really good for that. Um, Nagchamba, really good for that.
Oh,
You understand those incense are really heavy duty when it comes to inviting. I call it the heavenly host. You want to call the heavenly host, get you some Nagchamba, get you some Copal. You understand and invite that energy into
I
your
really like
space.
Nakchamba.
hmm Now, the beautiful thing, or not the beautiful thing, the most important thing too, when you are doing these smoke cleanses, even if you're not smoking out your house and you're smoking out yourself, let me make it very clear. You need to open a window and or a door,
Door.
okay? And the method, start from the back of your home, the back of your apartment, the back of your house, upstairs, if it's a upstairs, from the upstairs going down, but from the back coming to the front, you know, from the back of the house going towards that front door. If it is a multiple level home, start from the top floor going down, and remove that energy. And even when you are now smoking out yourself, let me tell you something, smoke out yourself and walk out, turn, and come on back in, and come in left foot first with the intent to bring in the prosperity, to bring in the domination over your space. You are ruling that space. You understand? And so you definitely want to do that, because a lot of times people are in smoking out their homes and smoking out themselves, but leaving all that in the air, and it's not going anywhere. So you've wasted your good prayers, your good energy, and it's trapped. And so you need to have a way for that to bypass and move around. You understand? So that's very vital. That and spiritual baths go hand in hand, and also goes hand in hand with daily workings. Because for me, I like to start my day with an incense and prayer. You understand? So when I make my cup of tea, you understand, or whether that's before prayer or after prayer, there needs to be an instant burning when I'm doing my praise, when I'm waking up my altar. There needs to be an instant burning. And I may not go through the entire house. It may just be in my bedroom. It may just be in my altar room. And there's times when I need to go through the entire house with that incense, but I need to wake up the fragrance. I believe in that, the metaphoric energy of sending up a sweet smelling scent to the heavens. I believe in that. And so it also will wake up your sense. It will wake up and activate something in you as well. So that's something you can do every day. Doesn't necessarily have to be the full smoking out the house or the full smoking out yourself, but there should be some type of fragrance, whether that's a smell good candle that brings a certain vibration, or an incense that brings a certain vibration. But even just now, I'm talking about incense, y'all, and a sweet smell. I have no incense burning, and I just got a floral scent just is, and it's actually blowing through past me right now. Heavy floral scent just blew past me right now as I'm talking to you guys. So that's spirit right there, confirmation. You know, I also wanted to talk about altar work as a part of everyday magic and rituals. Altar work. Altar work looks different for everyone. Some of us may have more altars than others, and that's okay. It doesn't matter about the number of altars. But what I want you guys to take from this is the key of working an altar is having a relationship with your spirits, whether that's an ancestor altar, Orisha altar, metaphysical altar, Kabbalistic altar, altar in general. Have a relation with the energies that are dwelling in that space, okay? And really cultivate that relationship. Because, go ahead, Rain.
I want to say, like, when you develop your relationship with your altar, it really becomes a living energy force within itself. Like, the relationship that you develop when you simply like just wipe down your altar, or sometimes just go sit in front of your altar and speak to your altar, it really creates this force within your sacred space. It really becomes like its own living
Yes, yes.
embodiment.
It is living. It very much so is living. And so altar work, what does that look like? Some of us need to always, some people have obligations where they need to keep a light on their altar. And and you guys are gonna be shocked when I say this, that light may be a candle, it may be an oil lamp, it may be the old school oil lamp that you adjust. And I've even come to realize even lamps, like actual light bulb lamps, people. Yes. And I had to accept that that actually is effective. For myself, as of recent, it has proven itself to me. But I have an aunt in particular that in her altar room, one of her altars, she keeps a lamp on that particular altar, and she leaves that lamp on. The only time she turns that lamp off is in the daytime when the sun is up naturally. But anytime night falls or midday comes, that lamp is coming on. And when she's working that altar, that light is on, you know. And so even I've realized even in Asian cultures, even in voodoo cultures, you'll see people use the Christmas lights. Yes, people will have the Christmas lights above surrounding the perimeter of their altar, and it works for them. And so I say that to say there needs to be some form of light. You don't want to leave your altar spaces in darkness, for long periods of time, especially when you are in manifestation mode and you're working on something, you're trying to get something done, you're in prayer and fasting about something, you have a project or something you're trying to accomplish. Keep your altars in light, okay? Make sure your altars are not collecting dust. you know that happens. Make sure your altars are not collecting dust. It will have a little dust build up from your incense or build a little dust here and there, but you don't want piles of dust building up. So maintaining your altar, have a cleaning ritual, whether that's once a week, once every 2 weeks, depending upon the altar and what that altar looks like. Not all shrines and things require a certain level of cleaning, but make sure that you are upkeeping your altars, refreshing the waters, keeping some type of living element on the altar. I want to say that there needs to be some form of a living element on the altar. That could be um water, that could be a plant, that could be, the fruit offerings that you are placing there on the altar. But there needs to be some form of life there, you know. And how do you also build relationship with your spirits? Communing with them. It doesn't have to be this long drawn out. You can be one of those person that's a working woman like my sister Rain, that when she gets up at 5 in the morning, she has to hit it. So after saying her thank yous and getting ready and talking to God, you may pass the altar and say, well, good morning. I greet you all. Respects, love, alafia, ikaru, whatever that may be, namaste, and go your way. You don't just bypass them like they don't exist. Acknowledge that they are there. And so people say, oh, idol worship, idol worship. No, it's not idol worship. It's a symbiotic relationship, because you understand that they are there to cover, protect, guide, guard, shield, whatever, enlighten. And you want to acknowledge that energy in your life. And so if it's a simple good morning, ancestors, good morning, Oshun, good morning, so and so, good night, so and so, even all you have is just a sprinkle a little water, whatever that may be, or leave an incense as you're leaving out. Do that, especially for those of us that have these things. I'm telling you, because honestly speaking, when you do not, when you start at a certain level, or the responsibilities build, the obligations build, and you don't do, I include it, shit starts happening that you're not gonna like. Go ahead, Ray.
So as you said that, you would took the words right out my mouth. I was gonna speak on that. Like, y'all know me, I'm the transparency one. I got my altars and I've been on I don't know if I've been on strike, if I just been on life. I just have not been fostering the relationship that I normally have with my alters. Because if you know me, like me and my alters, that's my friends. I'm always giving. Like I might just walk in the store and be like, oh, look, a bottle of honey. Let me get a bottle of honey. Let me do this. I always usually think about my alters because to me, they are a part of me. And the same
Yes.
way I care for myself, I would care for my alters. But as I say, you see that key word that Ricky said, that it's a symbiotic relationship. When I'm not taking care of myself, I tend to not take care of my alters. And my alters remind me that I'm not taking care of myself. So when you start to develop that relationship with your alters, as it's just like he said, it's a simple acknowledgement of like, hey, I didn't forget you. Your girl going through some stuff. Y'all see me. Y'all here. Like literally, that's how I talk to my spirits.
Mm-hmm.
Because like,
Yes.
we going through this together. We're figuring this thing called life out together. So in the meantime, I might just be able to just drop some water. Like today's self. As I said, so carnally, so spiritually, as we were preparing for this topic, I was like, Shanique, you have not done anything at your altar in a long time, girl. At least wipe it down. And today I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wipe down my altar. I wiped down my altar. I changed the water. I poured some wine. I did my thing because sometimes we need to be reminded the same prioritization that we put into our carnal life and going to work every day and taking care of our family every day and doing the tasks to keep our lives running is
Yes.
the same
Yes.
things we have to do with our spiritual life. And that's where if you already established an altar, I tell people all the time, don't go putting up these altars think it's gonna be just there for form, sound, and fashion because you're gonna realize the spirits are gonna start talking to you and tell you like, hey, what's going on? I need this by this by this. This is not something to take on lightly. So if you know you're not ready to make the dedication of having an altar, don't have an altar.
Let me tell y'all how serious. I'm gonna give you guys like a real like today experience. Like I said, I was gonna mention with you guys. So a lot of you guys may or may not know. I always speak about it, but I am an Awo of Ifa. Um, and I want to use this as an example to speak to anybody that has initiations or rites of passages in any spiritual system, be it voodoo, be it Ifa, be it even spiritual Baptists too. You know, those of us that have shrines or altars or spirits that require tending to. Okay, and there's a hierarchy with that. When it came to me, I have Ifa, and for those of us that have Ifa, we have Ifa shrines. A living vessel that Ifa is hosted in, and there's ways that we appropriate that shrine, and keep feeding that energy into that and that life source. Okay, now you guys know I'm very active in my spiritual life. I had gotten so accustomed to conducting prayers, assisting in prayers, doing work for my clients, and doing sacrificing things for my clients, and all of that, and even interacting with Orisha in person and ceremonies. Orisha coming down, communicating, giving blessings, giving instructions, giving guidance, all of these things, to the point where I had not been getting Dafa for myself. Dafa is Ifa readings. I had not been getting Ifa readings for myself. And so, with that being said, also came with me not giving Ifa Ebo and sacrifices, you know, in a capacity that I used to when I lived in Chicago, which was every other month. He was getting blood or giving whatever he needed to get. Long story short, my ear told me, Ifa says that you are being blocked from the heavens. And if you're giving offerings in other spiritual practices or in other spiritual systems, it too is going to be blocked pretty much until you deal with Arumala and Fidifa. And so I went on to say, well, Ia, I do have a ceremony coming up. As you guys know, I have a puja coming up for my birthday. And I'm like, well, is he fussing I don't need to do the puja, or the puja's not going to be successful? And she says, no, you still do what you need to do. But if you want your blessings to reach to the heavens and be effective in what you're doing, you need to deal with Ifa first. And so, long story short, I have to, give my offerings, do my appropriation to all of my shrines because it's been so long. I defeat all of my shrines, you know, um, and deal with that before engaging and going forth with the puja ceremony, because I will be doing all this work and not getting the response. And so I say this to say for you all, when you get into this journey of spirituality and you have spirits that require attendance, and they have been there from the very beginning, and they are spirits that anchor you, or the spirits that are part of your overall calling, see about them and do not slack, because you could be trying to accomplish something, working towards something, and God very well want to bless you. Spirits very well want to give it to you, but because of one situation or one piece of a out of place situation or imbalance, it can create a blockage or adversity for you. And so I'm glad that I got that information, because I didn't want to go and do this puja and then I don't get the results that I'm looking for, all because I didn't deal with the big dog from the very beginning. And so a lot of times we don't take into account the seriousness of the obligations and commitments that we have. Not saying that we don't just do anything, but sometimes I encourage us to get into really the relationship with our spirits and knowing the fullness of what is required and staying in sync with it the best way that you can. Because I can also tell you too, and I think Rain may agree with this too, that when we do slack off of spiritual hygiene too, as well, even though it seems to be like the trigger is emotions or carnal self gets into a space which triggers us not to want to do the spiritual stuff, or we get comfortable in the space that we're in, that we don't stick to, again, the depths of the commitment to the spiritual stuff. And so it starts to ping pong each other now. And so when the spiritual self is off, all it does is enhance the depression and enhances the stagnation and everything being out of place. And so do know that medicine to your depression, medicine to your blockages, medicine to this thing is also your spiritual well-being, your spiritual maintenance. Go ahead, Rain.
It's so funny that you mentioned that, because I said in preparation for tonight, anytime I'm preparing for something, I always do a lot of internal self reflection. And I thought back to the time in my life when I felt the most knowing of self, right? And
Mm-hmm.
feeling like I was operating from a place that was truly on all aspects Shanique. I was like, that's when I was experimenting with a lot of shit. I'll be the first one to tell you. I was entertaining a lot of things. I was experimenting with a lot of things. But when I say that, not to say do that, what I'm saying is when I had a spiritual aspect to my day every day, and I was doing some form of ritual every day, regardless if I was working, regardless of whatever was going on within my life. Once I was doing something every day, whether that be at my altar, giving an offering, pouring a glass of wine, sitting and, smoking a cigar to entertain my people. And my people been on my, Ricky, we gonna talk. They've been
Darlene,
on
we got a real serious conversation to talk off camera, because them people has been on 10.
they've been on 10. So, when I was doing my daily rituals, was I a little risky at times? Yes. Um, but do I regret it? No, because I learned so much about self.
Yes.
I learned so
Yes.
much about, spirit and what spirit really is, you know. And I said, now that I've stepped away from, not so much the experimentation, but just that daily ritual of going to my altar, maybe
Yeah.
reading a book, maybe dropping a seal,
Mm-hmm.
doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I realized, as you said, you get more depressed. And then when you get
Mm-hmm.
more depressed, you do less spiritual things. So it just becomes this vicious cycle that you
Yeah.
somehow have to say, like, let me stop and do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let me stop
Mm-hmm.
and go light this candle. As much as I don't want to go light this candle, even if I just say thank you, Father, chick, floop, bloop, You realize you light the candle, it starts a snowball domino effect, you
Hello.
know? So I say all of that to say it's like so carnally, so spiritually. Tend to yourself spiritually, watch your life flourish carnally. Tend to yourself carnally, but don't forget to tend to yourself spiritually. So you have to pour into both aspects of self. And that comes from just your simple, everyday, daily ritual. Even when you're
Yes.
just taking your regular shower, you know, the soaps they sell at the Botanica? Boy, I love me a Rue soap. A Rue soap or me a little Florida water soap, and I'm just in the shower talking and wash away these sins because
Yes,
these
mine is
people
Saint
be
Michael. I
trifling,
love my Saint
you
Michael
know.
soap. Yes, that's
You
so that's a
know,
every now and again. I will bust out that Saint Michael because
okay,
mom will be on me. We going to the river. We going to get the soap.
okay.
And she be
And
ready. Let's
and if
go.
you is at Trinidadian, you know we love our blue soap and our red lavender. Like,
Hello. Trinidad is a Jamaican lover blue soap. You better know it. You
so when
better know.
you
You don't
feel
know.
internally off and you're like, I can't take this whole big spiritual bath, don't forget what grandmama told you. Go get that soap. Get a lime. Buy a little lime, buy a little salt. It don't
Hello.
have to
And the
be.
Americans don't listen. And Americans, so in the Caribbean, the American people, um, there is still similarities with Caribbean and American spiritual operation. So like whereas in Trinidad and Jamaica and the Caribbean we would use blue soap, and the Americas we would use bluey, which would come in a little cube,
Pocket, yeah, we
or
use that too.
yes, or in a blue bottle with the old lady on the front of it, and you would
Yes,
use
I
that.
I love me a little blue and in some
Yes,
water
hello.
with a little
And
bit of salt.
so and if you don't have that, you better mix some vinegar and sea salt or white salt. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And do the thing. And that's always, this is like what Neek said. She said, remember what grandma would say. Always remember grandma had the remedies, auntie had the remedies, big mama had the remedies.
Had the
And
remedies.
grandpa could tell you what to go put in that yard. You understand?
You know, sometimes I get so sad because we're not passing along the oral traditions.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not passing along the things that was everyday magic
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't realize was everyday magic, you know, and I don't want it to get lost. You know,
Ashe.
it's up to us to start bringing back certain practices within
Mm-hmm.
our daily lives. You know, like I have a friend and she always walks in her house backward at the end of the night. I'm like, I need to remember to do that because that's so untrue. You know,
Oh
walk in your
yeah.
house
Miss
backward in
Thing
the
don't
night.
miss. And I realize that she don't miss. Even when she come by the Airbnb, she not miss that time. It doesn't
Okay?
matter. It don't miss.
Walk in that door backwards because it worked. You're not following me, jumbies. Like, you know,
No,
we
seriously,
have the
it's true.
knowledge
It's a
of the
reason why the
everyday
Asian people
magic.
leave their shoes. It's a reason why the Asian people leave their
Hmm.
shoes outside or cannot cross a certain point in the house. It's a reason why these things happen. Energy is real. And a lot of us sleep and we take a lot of stuff for granted. And then we have all this stuff going on in our house, finances going up and down, children acting crazy, relationship in turmoil, because we are bringing a host of things in our space and not leaving it at the door, literally, or doing the necessary groundwork to, get rid of it. And we'll be in the motion or in the act of it and forget this is a spiritual thing that's going on. We'll get so caught up in the carnal aspect and forget this is a spiritual thing that is taking place. And so we have to get into that realization and
For
be
me, like I
vigilant.
try for me, I try to remind myself, like, you know, like a firefly could always find light, right? And I'm
Hmm.
like, we're spiritual beings. So now that we're alert, we're like, and when we go out there and these energies are just floating around, they see us before we see them because
Yes.
we're shining so bright. So if we're not practicing everyday spiritual protection, like, you know, get your guards, people. You know, get your Alekes blessed. Like, and stop wearing these Alekes and you know they're not really blessed. Like, come on,
That part.
let's be for real because this is supposed to be your spiritual guard and protection. It's not for form and fashion. Yes, you're wearing it to represent the energies that you walk, but it's really your guard, you know?
And let me say, I've like even speaking about that, you know, about the Lakers, for example, because that was a thing I had to grow to understand in a sense of the difference of the application in different traditions. Because within Ifa, within Lukumi, Santeria, Ocha, within Condomble, our lekes go through a washing and a feeding process. Okay. And then there are situations where a person that may not even be as far as a devotee, but they come for a reading or work and they need a guard, for example, and they will get the Ide, for example, or even just one Eleke. Um, that still has to go through a certain consecration process. It was a little shocking to me coming into spiritual Baptists and seeing people wearing them and they not going through the process at all. And I'm like, what are you doing? You know,
But not even like the Baptist. Like now, you can really just go to the Botanica and homegirl gonna blow on it for 2 seconds and tell you it's blessed.
oh darling, please, no thank you. Let me tell y'all right now, if them bees ain't get the work, and you gonna know if it got the work or not because it's a process. It is a process.
You
Don't
know.
waste your time and
So
your money, or
I
get the
see
bees
so
and take it to a
many.
priest.
I worked in the Botanica, so I was privy to see a lot of things, and people would literally just come, buy these beads, wash it with a little Florida water, put a little oil on it, and then, like, wear
Let me
it.
tell you,
No.
the loophole to that. Let me tell you something, and this is you're gonna laugh at this though. I still would not take a bead that this has not received the work, so y'all don't misinterpret me. But Neek, what if what if part of the power behind the people without the work getting it done is the little blessing from the Obia man or woman, and then they believe in the spirit that this thing is going to do what it needs to do for them.
But what authority does the Obia man or woman really have to grant you protection?
For those type of things. And this goes right into the other bubble, y'all. We're flowing nicely because the next bubble that I was going to get into is the charms. Wearing charms. Charms could be guards, it could be gree-grees, it could be the seals. And so charms, why do we wear charms? This is an ancient practice. Charms could be a piece of jewelry, example A, you know, that are set for protection or set to help to enhance some type of vibration, be it finances, be it love, be it whatever you're seeking. They could be a guard or an item that you could place on your person that helps with that. In terms of daily, everyday magic and rituals, if you have a guard that was given to you, be it a lake's ring, jewel, bracelet, anklet, um, whatever, put it on because it can't do anything for you being
Sitting on the
at
counter.
home in a drawer hanging up. It can't do anything for you because, seriously speaking, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against princes of palaces. So they need to be on you and working with your energy, vibrating from your person to be active, to either enhance and draw or protect and keep away. You understand? And then when it comes to our lekes and things like that, and certain spiritual guards, the koyes, the alekes, the different bands and certain hats and things of that nature, these things are consecrated, activated, and also strengthen your connection to the divine that you're working with that's attached to that energy. So you need to keep it on or near you. Go ahead, Rain.
So if y'all know me and you notice, I am Queen Charms. I always got something, 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 you
Hello. Look, I
know.
have to go.
And when I tell people my charms become synonymous to me, like they become part of my skin. Like if I don't have it on, like I energetically notice it. Like I'd be like, what? Why one hand is heavier than the next? And I'd be like, oh, I don't have on my ring today. And it's very rare that I will leave my house without something that I've already assigned to have a particular purpose.
Yes.
When I charge certain things, and even your guards, you have to recharge them.
Yes, you
Clean them
do.
because they're constantly in protection. If they're in protection mode, they're constantly filtering energy. So don't forget to clean them. On certain moons, remember to recharge them. If you know you're a person that charged your amulet with blood, make sure you refresh,
Do what you
refresh
got to
that
do, baby.
connection because these things are sacred implementations of the connection with certain spirits. Like I have my guards for certain things, and then like I have like things that I wear, like my Oshun bracelet. Like when I'm consecrating that for Oshun or whatever, that's not because I want to draw that energy a little bit closer to me at this particular time of my life. Because I go through phases and stages of what I wear. So it represents the energy that I'm invoking at the moment. Now I understand, like, my understanding of the Lekes are limited, but I get it, like if you're just wearing it because you just want to feel closer to that energy. Whereas you trying to sell me is that if you just buy this 2 seconds ago, somehow it's a charged up guard. But if you're telling me like, oh yeah, no, I just want to feel closer to Osine, so I bought this yellow and brown Aleke, I could buy that. I can roll with that, because that's the vibration that you're attaching to it. But when we're talking about like true spiritual protection, as much as I may not be a part of certain communities, I know just as to everything, there's certain rituals that goes forward to
Absolutely.
sync that
Certain
energy
prayers, certain invocation.
with
Mm-hmm.
this particular item, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
as spiritual people, like let's really get serious into our spiritual protection for real. Because there's principle, there's so much that be happening behind the scenes you know like if you were supposed to go get that piercing and you trying to delay getting that piercing, and that piercing was a connection between you and a particular energy, you don't know why that energy is telling you to get that particular thing. A lot of times we get the direction as to what we're supposed to do spiritually to protect ourselves, and I think like we forget that wickedness is real, especially when you become a parent within the spiritual community, or even if you just get too much attention. Like evil eye, I tell people maljo as they call it in Trinidad, like that will really fuck you up worse than any spell that anybody throw on you.
Hey, one of the people them is here. Give me a second. So let me share this while the vibration is passing and me get my hair standing up. Um, know that you all have power within you. There'll be things that you need to go to a practitioner, a priest, a elder for, but there are certain things that you can do for yourself. So I want you guys to know that. When we talk about personal charms, it's easy to write a petition. You for example, you're going for an interview for today, or you're going and you're hustling, you need to get some money coming your way. Old school thing, write out your petition, drop your seal or symbol. Everybody gets different seals and symbols and keys or elemental, signs that they want to draw. Write your petition and fold that to you. Fold it coming to you. Fold that paper coming to you and stick it in your shoe, your left shoe. You understand? Stick that in your shoe and continue to go into spaces. When you enter your workplace, when you enter a business, when you enter a store, when you enter these places, enter with your left foot, going into that space. When you also know that you are entering and going into an environment that you need to be spiritually protected. I'm one that I believe in drawing seals on myself. I'll just tell you guys what I do. I draw a seal on myself. I become the charm. So I would take a chalk or effun, and I would, with no clothes on, and I would draw certain seals and symbols on myself on the bottom of my feet. Back in the days, some people actually would draw the seals or paint the seals on the bottom of their shoe. You understand, or put them in the insoles of their shoe. You understand, you can do that still to this day, and it does work. Also, gree bags or mojo pouches. You can make a
Get out
mojo.
my head.
Yes, Gree bags and mojo pouches are a universal thing. They're not limited to any one tradition. You know, all many traditions all over the world have different versions of them, but that is simply a carry-on pouch, something you can place in your bra, something you can place in your boxers under
I
your ball sack, something you can place in your purse. You
so
understand?
this right
Example A.
here,
Mm-hmm. I
You
got mine
know,
downstairs on the altar. That's
so
definitely it.
for me, like I'm a person that loves crystals. So I usually carry this with whatever type of energy I'm trying to invoke. Like if I'm trying to get some money, I write my petition, I get a pyrite crystal, I get some bay leaves, I get some cinnamon, and I put it in here and I'm a bosom girl. I tell women if they really understood the power of their bosom, they would be putting a lot of things in their bosom.
He did say
And
men
I
will give unto your bosom. You
and I
understand?
put me a little money oil in here, a little attraction oil, and I'm walking with it every day. And I'm like, money comes to me. I love money. Money love to be. If you understand how money love to be around me, and you will start seeing like, because I have the pyrite, because I have the herb, because I might actually have a little dollar or something in here. I'm walking and I'm talking, and I'm perspiring. Your sweat,
Your life
is
energy.
your life energy. It's right by my heart. It's feeling that rhythm. It's feeling that heart chakra. A lot of people don't understand. Like if you want to manifest abundance, you got to work on your heart chakra.
Yes.
Oh, you got to open up yourself so the universe can give you. Even with the color that I choose for the particular work that I'm doing. If I'm doing a money work, that's why I have a green mojo bag. And you just think about like how to add each component that you know about magic and make it
Hmm.
portable.
Yes. And you can Google. Let me tell you guys something. You can Google ChatGPT, Meta AI, whatever your preference is nowadays in this age that we're living in. There's information available, and so that's why I'm not going through and telling you, oh, this color is for that, this color is for this color is for that. Do this day on this day. Not doing that because I encourage you to take time to do that, and me telling you what I may use red for because it's not limited. These are not fixed situations or
Hmm.
fixed colors. You have to know which within the vibrations vibrate properly for you. You understand? And so I encourage you all to take your time and research what day does Monday metaphysically represent? What colors coincide with that vibration that X, Y, by Z? I know Thursday, I might use yellow. I might use orange. I might use green. You know what I mean? For these type of abundance frequency type things. Go ahead, Rain.
Also, pay attention to the days of the week where your energy seems the best. Like for me, my work day is always a Wednesday. Because for some reason on Wednesday, that's when I'm most vibrant, when I'm most awake. But then when I started doing research into astrology, my sign is Mercury. And guess what day is Wednesday? Wednesday is a mercurial day. Wednesday is the day of Mercury. So no wonder I tend to have a more easier, more flowing day. Like communication is easier for me. I find doing my spiritual work because I'm a person that the invocations of my mouth, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
ruled by Mercury, is where my manifestations work. So that comes in the form of prayer. So like if I decide like, oh, I'm trying to figure out what's best day for me, whereas Thursday might be a better day to do financial work because it's supposedly a Jupiter day, but because Wednesday works personally better for me, I would do my money work on a Wednesday because
Mm-hmm.
I'm using communication to invoke that hey, I need $7,000 by the end of the month. And I needed to play blah 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 blah. And I would be grateful if you was to do X by Y by Z. So you gotta really start paying attention to what days you feel your best, what days you notice you have the most energies, what days of the week just seem to be a little bit easier to you, and then go do your research to see what that day governs.
I agree. I like that. I like that. That's a beautiful point, Rain, that I didn't even think about. Know what days of the week, how the days of the week work for you personally. That's why I say these things are not fixed at all, but it's good to at least have some background knowledge, number one, about yourself, which we always talk about
Mm-hmm.
that. Get into your stars, get into your planets, get into your sign, but also get a little alchemy under your belt. It's basic alchemy. It's simple stuff. It's not saying you got to have the chart and know this, that, and the third for everybody and their mama, but you need to know what works for you and cultivate that. And so a charm may be the pouch. The charm may be a petition in your bra. It may be in your shoe. It may be in your pool. It may be in a permanent Gree bag that you take and make and sew up together. It may be
Mm-hmm.
one that you get from somebody like me, or Botanica or something of that nature. All is effective if you work with it right and it's rightfully working for you. You understand? And when you realize something is not working for you, don't stay in it too long, because if it's in alignment and it matches your vibration, you will get the results. I always say give a situation 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks, a month at the longest, to see what type of results you get from doing a particular task. And if by that 3 weeks to a month it's not yielding, that means it's time to try something different. Don't waste your time and your money doing that same thing again. Do
Mm-mm.
something different, because you're going to have to discover and practice. That's why it's called a
Mm.
practice, until you get in tune with what works for you. Hmm.
So I kind of slightly disagree with you on that one with the 3 weeks, because some
Okay.
works you might need to have a long term investment. Like
Yes.
I did a particular work with a particular lady named Santa Marta, and she needed me to be present for 9 Tuesdays, and I was like, "Girl, 9 whole Tuesdays," and I did it. And when I tell you, I just saw the result of the work this year. I just saw it this year, and I did the work last year. But the result I knew it was so evident that it came from that work that I couldn't deny that it came from that work. So it depends on like how heavy the work you doing.
Ashe,
You
that is
might
the
need to
key.
play the
Yes.
long term goal.
Now that
You
is
know.
true. That is true. If it is a heavy, thank you for that segue, Rain. Depending on the work, it could take some time. It can take some time, because I could tell you. It really depends on the situation, because for example, I had just this year, from cases had been working on from last year, finally came through by the first week of January this year, for someone's divorce, another for someone's business. You know what I mean? And it was heavy situation, and really, especially when you have a person actively working against you, you got
Yep.
to be on the ball. You have to be on the money. And so some works does require a little bit more time, but you should be able to have the discernment to know the
No, it's
difference.
coming.
Yeah,
And
to
I
know
and
the
I want to tell
difference.
us as practitioners, like consistency is key. Cause sometimes we think, okay, I just like that one candle, that like that one particular day, and it's gonna hit. Sometimes you might need to go like that same candle again, especially like if you start reading your candles and you see it's a little cloudy and it didn't come through as clear as it needed to come through. That's a sign you need to do the work again. Whatever you did
Truth.
may not have been enough. You may need to appease that god or that deity or that spirit a little bit more, you know.
Hmm.
Because I tell people there's certain spirits, because they already have a predisposed relationship with you don't got to put in that much work to get the results, you
So
know.
true.
Like for me, if I know if I go to Yamandra, if I go to Oshun, it's a high probability that I'm gonna get through. And I may not have to do much. I might just gotta buy a bottle of, honey, and it might come through that way. It may not require me to go into deep prayer, fast,
But
and
you see what you did
meditation.
there too, Ray? I'm glad you brought this part up, though, because a lot of people miss this element. Reciprocity. I'm gonna bring it back up. I dropped it in the beginning, but I want to make sure you guys understand this, because this is another way people meet problems when they do work. If you have petitioned any spirit, ancestors included, any spirit, and you're working on a task and you've petitioned them and they've came through on that task, one or two things. One way, if you did not get the result, I'm not going to say automatically it wasn't for you. A lot of times, if you don't get the result, it's because maybe you didn't make a proper agreement for that work.
The offering
Okay.
it wasn't up
Yes.
to par.
Yep. And so a lot of times people wait for the spirit to say, okay, I want you to, I did the work, then give me an offer. A lot of times, no, they won't move until you initiate that work and say, when you bless me, I'm going to give you. You understand? So understand the energy of reciprocity. If you are working with any spirit, angels included, there needs to be some type of offering, some type of exchange, whether that is the bottle of liquor, the bottle of honey, food that you cooked, fruit that you purchased, Um, and for those of us that do sacrifice that need to be given, but there needs to be some form of exchange. Nothing,
It's
nothing,
for
nothing,
free.
nothing, nothing comes for free.
Any spirits.
Any
I'll be
spirit.
I'll be like very honest with you. I remember I asked, even though this is a spirit that I have a really great relationship with, I asked for particular things. And I'm now seeing these things happen in my life. And now I have to keep my end of the bargain. When I made the petition, I said, hey, when I get this, I gonna give you hoto toy Thanksgiving. And now Spirit is looking at me like, okay,
Well, my
I, I, I
things.
I gave it to you. Where my things? And you don't want to be in a position with Spirit looking at you like, so
Like me
where my
today.
things?
Like me. Like if I said, yeah, you want to keep Pooja?
Because
Give me my blood
who
first.
give
And go,
it
do you
can
want
take it away. And especially when you get to know certain of these water spirits, just as easy as they gave it to you, just as easy they will take it away.
mm-hmm.
So we want to make sure when we're making covenants and we're making agreements and stuff like that, don't make agreements you don't have intentions of keeping. Don't make agreements that you know you cannot keep, because we all personally know what we can and cannot do. Like, I would never say like, oh, I would give you 3 chickens, because who killing it? Not me. Who gonna
Eh,
remember to go get the chickens? Not Shanique. So
girl,
when you know yourself and you know what you can upkeep and what you can maintain, that's how you're supposed to make your agreements. Now they may still come and be like, no, Shanique, I need you to get me 17 chickens. Then I'm gonna have to figure it out, because you're telling me what is gonna be the requirement for what I'm asking for.
yep.
But if I'm initiating the conversation, I still have that wiggle room to say, well, okay, if you give me X by Y by Z, I promise you every Tuesday we will have a conversation. And I will pour you a cup of brandy. And I'm going to smoke my little cigar. And I'm going to spend some time with you. Because you'll be honest, like sometimes the spirit just wants some of your time.
That's it.
They want somebody to impart that knowledge, especially if you know the people that we talking about. They just want somebody to impart the knowledge that they have and share it with the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And let me also say this to you guys. Your offerings is like fuel in the gas tank. The work that the Spirit does for you requires fuel. Your offerings, your whatever that offering may be, it's not just the agreement of like, oh, I'm doing it, but it's also fuel. They need the fuel to work for you. And so the last component I wanted to talk about, which is we covered all the bubbles and we're getting to the last bubble now, is divination. And that's how we're gonna close out this divination. Um, everyone, whether you are a practitioner that works for people or you're just doing this in your own spiritual journey, I think divination is really powerful for a daily tool, or everyday magic. And it can be as simple as pulling an affirmation card. It can be as simple as pulling a spread for yourself for the day. It can be a card of the day. It could be simply taking a moment to divine at your altar to communicate with your spirits, checking in with them. Do I need anything? Do you need anything? You understand, divination is, it can be simple, it can be complex. But I think some form of spiritual communication, whether you're throwing your shells, throwing your pennies, looking at a glass of water, using a crystal ball, pulling your oracle cards, or even affirmation decks. Those are not like oracle cards or tarot cards, but they're like decks for affirmations or a card of the day. Those things count as a form of divination too, or could be used for spirit communication with your higher self. And so I do recommend some form some form of spiritual check-in, some type of spiritual communication to see what's up with yourself. Sometimes you may need to be made aware of something. Sometimes you may need to know how the day is may go for you, or something you need to be advised to do for your well-being, to take on the day, whatever it may be. Go ahead, Rain.
So, I'm a tarot girly. And I have a particular artist that I follow on Instagram called Jessie Jumanji. And she makes like a screenshot version of the tarot card. So you just say your prayers, you screenshot. And like sometimes that's how I tap into my day. Because I may not always have the time to go actually physically pull a card. But when I tell you, when you begin to read your cards, and you begin to come in tune with the higher self and that consciousness, the message still passed. So I love the idea of like pulling a tarot card a day, because I'd be like, Spirit, I need to know what's
Mm-hmm.
going on, which way we
Mm-hmm.
flowing today, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that could be because I have issues with control, and it makes me feel a sense of, at least having some form of control. I can admit that. But I feel like also just being aware of the energies that are present is very important to navigate your day, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
asking for that sense of direction, like even just simply that prayer of like, God, direct me in my day. You may start getting a download. I don't know for everybody else, but when I go to the shower, Spirit be really talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
In the shower, you're like, God, show me what I'm supposed to do today. How can I be more Christ-like today? What would you like me to do in order to be the better version of myself today? And you might realize like things just start flowing to you. And that's a form of divination, because you're
Yes, it
tapping
is.
into your higher self.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And even there's apps now. There's apps you can download on your phone that will give you a card of the day. You can listen to your astrology for the day. You
Oh yes,
understand? You
I
may have
love
a
the app
favorite
called
reader
Patterns.
on YouTube. Yeah. I use Astromix. I use Galaxy Tarot. Those are two apps that I use. Astromix does the astrology and even card of the day too, but it gives me different transits. So I get a full month and daily type insight. And so find these tools that if you don't have the cards and if you're not in the position to read or you don't have the desire, but you do want to receive it, find your YouTube reader. Hell, reach
Mm-hmm.
out to me. I can
I
give you a card of the day. We can set that up where you get a reading for every morning, a card of the day to jumpstart your day. That's possible, but there's resources. But definitely, I do believe incorporating some form of a divination into your day, whether it's passively listening from YouTube or a podcast or someone on social media, TikTok or Instagram, or something that you do for yourself, I think it's beneficial, and so I pray that today gave some good insight, that you guys were able to get some notes and some good food. I'm excited for next week because next week we're coming with part two, and this is getting into narcissism and kabbalistic daily rituals and practices that could be used for us. And I'm really, 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 really excited about that too. And so I pray that you all have a beautiful night, that you rest well. Again, if you have any comments or thoughts, leave them in the comment section or reach out to me and I'll get to you. If you would like to send an offering, be it to myself or Rain, you have the Cash App there. And if it's for Rain, please put in the Cash App for Rain so that I can share and get that and send it to her. But I love you all. I thank you all for viewing and spending your evening with me. I pray that you have a lovely, lovely evening. And we look forward to coming again next week. You guys have a beautiful evening. Go
I
ahead,
just
Rain.
want I just want to quickly say, just remember you are the magic. So whatever you do, once you do it with intention, it's magical. So have the best magical day, you unicorns. Love you
Yes, sir.
guys.
I love it.
I love, I love, I love, I love. Sun rays like a satellite. Energies bring me back to life. Catch me chilling with the halo. Universal flow, I belong here. Keep that focus on that starlight. God of my universe, part of my mission, righteous the all might. Raw splitting the sea into that clear sight. Go far intuition, lifting up that soul right. I love, I love, I love, I love.